Denizens of the Deep, arise and welcome to the showdown between the Vampire Coast, who shall be led by Count Noctilus, and the Dark Elves, who are going to be helmed by Lokir Fellheart. So certainly going to be some fun, and I think he is going to be on his Dragon Maelstrom. So it's going to be Captain Pegleg on his steed versus the Dragon Lord over there on Maelstrom. So on that note, guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, we do, of course, have Count Noctilus out front and center. It's always a bit of fun to get in there and harass, but Falcon does have a bit of a vanguard, actually. So you can see there's some shades right here. They're going to be able to close that distance rather quickly. So a little bit stressed out about this for sure. But nonetheless, Noctilus is going to be able to lay some hurt on those guys. He has Wraithstorm. I generally used to like to put Noctilus out front and use some summons. So basically use the Captain Roth's Moondial and the other tools like that to slow your opponent's advance, therefore allowing your guns at the back. And well, I don't really have any cannons, so I don't know if it was super necessary, but I do have some deck gunners, so see how that goes. But aside from that, I have 4 groups of the deckhand mobs, and the secondary line is going to be gunnery mobs, so just the pistols. And honestly, the pistol variant is actually quite good against Dark Elves. They have a lot of lightly armored targets like the Witch Elves, Bleak Swords, Dread Spears. And honestly, they do a good job even against the armored targets, just with volume of fire. But I think against Dark Elves, you can afford to go with the pistols. I think they're pretty good. We have the black spot here in the back, and normally I like to get a second group of handguns, but this time we're actually going to be trying deck gunners to see if they can generate some good value. And last but not least, one of the most important units in this matchup are the Depth Guard. So with Depth Guard, you have to be super careful not to get them picked apart by shades and AP, targets really quickly. But if you can save them for the late game and just grind your opponent out, they can do so much work because they beat the brakes off pretty much all the Dark Elf infantry, with the exception, of course, of the Harganeth Executioners. But again, Dark Elves are almost never going to bring those guys in this matchup. So Depth Guard, incredibly solid. And I do have a couple Scurvy Dogs. So Scurvy Dog, and Scurvy Dog. So I got 3 of those guys. Certainly some pretty good units. And for the forces of Falcon, he's got Harpies up in the sky. Now, he brings the Harpies, of course. It does give him some ranged pressure, or not ranged pressure, but pressure to pressure my ranged units. So he can fly in, attack my guns, do some good work with those. But what I've actually been seeing him do with these units is often protecting his backline against Scurvy Dogs, because they can simply sit above the missile units and they can kill the Scurvy Dogs actually rather quickly. So pretty cool stuff there. So he's got a couple Harpies. He does have Lokir Fellheart up on the Dragon, and Harpies, several groups of shades, 4 shades in total. Now, if you're playing against any Elvish faction, the Elves always are going to be bringing Shades, Shadow Warrior type units, Lothran Seaguard, Deepwood Scouts, Way Watchers. Those bow units have better range than a lot of your guns. So these ones don't have better range, but they do have the stock mechanics, so they can get that first jump. But bow units typically are very, very good against Vampire Coast. So either going with mortars or some sort of artillery pieces is pretty important. Now, in this case, I didn't opt to go with mortars because, again, the Shades get pretty close without being seen, so I didn't think mortars would be as good. But yeah, still very, very good pick there from Falcon. And aside from that, you just go super wide with like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, honestly, and you're going to be in good shape. And he has some extra AP in Lokir as well, so that guy's going to be pretty good against the Depth Guard and things like that. Granted, not the most competitive pick, but still pretty good. He does also have a Sorceress with Fire, Fireball, Cascading Fire Cloak, and the Burning Skull, and that is pretty much it. So there's no trickery on the edge of the map, so let's get this show on the road, guys, and have some fun. So right now we're going to be dropping some Hot Thunder. Some of the dogs are going to be creeping in here, but he does, of course, have the Harpies. So at that point, I realized I was kind of caught. So I'm like, all right, let's get in here and do as much damage as we can to the Shades. Just kind of pepper those guys down a little bit. Harpies, of course, will clean them up, but we got some good DPS on those guys. And it is opening up, oh, sorry about that. It is opening up some gunfire as well. So you can see the zombie power gunnery mobs are going to be shooting into these guys. Nice breath attack right there. Count Noctilus is going to have to fall back, and the deck gunners are going to be shooting, but the Shades are able to just close the distance, and yeah, I should have had them a little bit further back here, but I wanted to, I got a little greedy, and you can see here the Shades are going to be paying the iron price, or the deck gunners are, and these guys get mulched, and also he gets a really nice burning head down the formation, which does hit some of my guns over here, pretty much evaporates that entire formation of the black spot. So Falcon off to a really powerful start. He's able to get a couple of good breath attacks, kill my deck gunners. However, the damage is now being returned. So Lokir Fellheart is flying. He's taking a lot of crossfire from the guns here. Noctilus is back here, and he's going to be dropping some fire on Lokir as well. But certainly a very, very rough start. Now, I do have a little bit more pressure coming. I have some of the Scurvy Dogs, 2 groups over here, and they're going to be coming in. But look at this. Falcon just using the Harpies to defend his Shades in the back. I love that play. That is very, very very clever and something you don't see terribly often, but we are getting some good pressure here. Some of the zombie power gunnery mobs can advance and shoot, kind of like the Death Guard in 40k. And you could also see here that the deckhand mobs are going to be advancing on the Shade line. So we're going to be applying some pretty good pressure to the Shades, and it is going to force the Harpy's hand, at which point maybe the Scurvy Dogs can get in there. So with one of the Scurvy Dogs, I just go in balls deep. I'm like, let's go, balls to the wall. So we're going to be jumping on, and we do get on the Shades, which is huge. And the other Scurvy Dogs are going to be coming around the back, just trying to pressure as much as I can. Unfortunately, one group of Depth Guard is pretty much fully taken out, but the other one is healthy, and we are able to buckle 2 Dark Elf Bleak Sword units, so it almost pays for the cost of those Depth Guard. Bounce bar is relatively even, and something that is in my favor right now is the fact that we are really punishing Lokir and his leadership. And also, we're finally starting to get some good pressure on the Shades. We do break this edge of the formation here with the guns. These dogs are just flying around Tokyo drifting, looking to chase these Shades off the battlefield. We are able to do some okay work, so we're finally compromising some areas of his infantry line. The Depth Guard are going to be surging in, and we're getting a lot of damage. I actually had 3 Depth Guard in total, so one of them got killed, but we still have 2 more. So Lokir Felhart taking quite a bit of work. Wraithstorm is going to be going down right there, and Lokir is going to be flying out of here. I mean, he certainly doesn't want to sit in this situation. Balance of Power is pretty much where it was when the battle started, but another good situation back here is the Depth Guard are going to be cleaning up these Dread Spears and getting pretty much free value off those guys, which is going to be nice. So if we go back to the main battle line, these Depth Guard are just tearing through the enemy's formation. These Dread Spears, of course, are just locked in combat with Deckhand mobs, which is a little bit going to be a slow grind. Some Scurvy Dogs have chased off some of the chaff, but basically we're just in pursuit of the Shades. Now, most good players, and of course Falcon being one of the better players out there, is going to be able to split his fire. So he runs in two separate directions, which means I have two units to pursue with, but he does also have some defensive capabilities here, and he's going to be getting some good crossfire. So this was also a mistake. I probably should have kept the Depth Guard back and just chased with the zombies and just forced him to use the Shade ammunition into less efficient targets. But in this case, the Depth Guard are going to be trying to catch these Shades, and they might be able to get some damage. We do make contact at least, so that means that the Depth Guard are going to be starting to heal, and also Lokir Felhart is very low. So Noctilus is full health. He still has some pretty good summons. It's pretty much always the case with Noctilus. There's going to be a fat, juicy Burning Head coming in. Some beautiful casts right there. It's going to be eviscerating some zombies, maybe roasting a couple Dark Elves, but most certainly worth it, and a beautiful cast there from Falcon. So right there you can see Deckhand mobs are going to be going down, but Lokir is so low. He's got about 1500 HP. I do have these zombies in guard mode. They're going to be unleashing torrents of fire into Lokir Felhart. And in the back, it looks like he is able to finally secure those Scurvy Dogs using the Harpies and some of his other backline defensive tools. Now, Shades, two groups of Shades very, very beat up here. The other Shades are in okay shape, so we've done okay damage, but we haven't quite finished any of those guys off. So realizing now that I'm not going to be able to catch the Shades, I pulled the Depth Guard back because Noctilus is basically a massive artillery piece. So let's pull back, let's defend, and from there we're going to be able to get some good fire. So a nice breath attack going in right there on the zombie powered gunnery mobs. Depth Guard are going to be falling back, and they should be able to beat down anything that pushes back here. The main thing is really just keeping them out of range of the Shades. But he still has so many Shades, it's going to be really, really tough here. Harpies are going to be jumping in, but thankfully I do have the Depth Guard nearby. Depth Guard will be able to kill Harpies very quickly. Harpies are infantry sized, which means they're going to be taking anything extra damage from anything that does have a bonus for his infantry, so Depth Guard in this case. Pegleg's going to be jumping in as well, trying to get some terror routes on the Harpies. I figured, hey, let's get in there, let's commit, let's get an Invocation of Nehek. And we're also going to be dropping a zombie powered gunnery mob summon right here so they can advance and shoot at these Shades. Meantime, a lot of armor piercing fire coming in, but we did get an overcasted Invocation of Nehek, but due to the fact that it was recently nerfed, it only hit 3 of those units there and did not hit Noctilus, but it doesn't really matter at all. He was pretty much full health anyways, but just something to note in terms of gameplay. So in the back, we have some zombies actually fighting Shades. Our guns are advancing here, and we're going to be forcing the Shades back again. Lokir Felhart is very low, and you can actually see the bounce power is ebbing a little bit in my favor here. The Shades are going to be shooting into the Zombos. Zombie powered gunnery mobs doing some pretty good work, but yeah, we're just going to be in the back using the Depth Guard just to basically chase these guys down and kill anything that's going to be pressuring Noctilus back here. So this is kind of how you have to use Depth Guard in the Elf matchups, just very conservative in the back line. I mean, you can hammer it first, but typically you want to pull them back, because if you overextend and they get isolated, they're not the tankiest unit. Yes, they heal and they have a lot of armor, but their melee defense at 31, and they have a low model count and a low HP pool overall, so you need to be a little bit careful with those guys. So some of the Shades are pulling back and shooting my zombie pirate deckhand mobs here. My guns still are advancing and hopefully picking off a couple Shades right there. Lokir Felhart very beat up in the skies. It's going to be an incredibly close ending here to this game. Noctilus, getting the fat shot right there into Lokir Felhart. And I don't know, does he have his healing? Yeah, he does have the item that heals him, I think. Maybe it doesn't heal it when he's like very low or something. Let's actually go ahead and take a look. I'm really curious about this. So replenishes hit points. Oh, so he has to be in melee. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So he does have to be fighting. I mean, it's certainly not as strong, but it's still a pretty good item here. So he has 600 HP. He's healing now, so he's back up to about 630. Going to be going up to 640 here in a second. Another Burning Head is going to be going down against my Disgusting Blob that just finished off a couple of his troops here. It doesn't do much against armor, but it is going to be roasting my standard zombies. I think both of them were summons, though, so it's not going to be terribly devastating. But yeah, it's basically my 2 Depth Guard right now, just holding the line. And the dragon, Lokir Felhart in the back, is certainly going to be a threat if we can't finish him off. My summon zombies back here are able to finish off these Shades using the Roth's Moondial. And the bounce power is in my favor. I mean, Noctilus is full health, and I still have these Berserkers here. These Depth Guard are just very, very strong. As far as kills, these ones have 70, the other ones have 148, so they've certainly paid for themselves. All those kills were on decent targets, like Shades and Bleak Swords. It wasn't like it was like killing zombies or just like chaff. Those were like good value targets. So we're going to be chasing off this force. The Dark Elves are kind of in a mass retreat right here, but still, Falcon, of course, has his Shades, and that's the big thing. From his perspective, the key to victory is keeping those Shades alive. So it is going to give him a tool to kind of shoot at my guys here. So at this point, I'm going to be pulling back, trying to get Noctilus over there to kind of drop some summons and pressure and maybe get some terror out on the Shades. And then from there, we then follow up with our Depth Guard. So the big old Pirate Lord is going to be coming in. Lokir Felhart, I guess, is a pirate, or I guess a slaver. I'm not really sure what you call him, but he's going to get in there. He has about, ooh, man, Noctilus getting some shots, and the Depth Guard with the charge, making some beautiful impact here. So Lokir Felhart might be going down Very, very close stuff. He's actually broken, 524 HP. Noctilus does get another shot on the retreat, and he's certainly in a little bit of trouble as we are going to be surging forward. Bounce of power is a little bit in my favor, just ever so slightly, but it's certainly anyone's game. It's really going to come down to the shades, and if Loki or Felhard does come back and get another good, couple good attacks here on Count Noctilus, that could be super game-changing. So in the meantime, the Harpies are going to be jumping on the back, thinking about engaging. They swoop down and maybe pick up a couple depth guard, but they're thinking about targeting, but they're not really committing to that fight. Noctilus is going to be marching, and he still has a little bit of ammo left. Not enough to really... I probably should have ran into the force here, I'm thinking. But anyways, yeah, we're going to be charging here. Lokir actually coming in for a fight. He gets a huge charge into depth guard, but he's pretty low, 464 HP, but he gets some pretty good damage here on the depth guard, and that's really important, and he's able to pull out. That's what she said. And yeah, he's 0 leadership. The fact that we weren't able to kill him there, Noctilus missed both of his attacks. Because again, you weigh your melee attack against their melee defense, and he does have better melee defense, so it's still not the best probability of hitting, but nonetheless, it's too bad we didn't get him there. So Noctilus is going to be kind of drifting through here. Depth guard are getting worn down, and look at this, the Dark Elves are kind of pulling ahead on the bounce of power. Beautiful play from Falcon, good cycle charging. Loki or Felhard deserves to go back to his boat. I mean, he's done some great work this game. Some summoned zombies here are going to be chasing off the shades, which is great, but the shade fire is really just making all the difference, and he has 4 groups of shades left. He somehow, some way, he's been able to keep those guys alive, and the fact that I haven't been able to finish him off is probably going to cost me the game at this point. So we're going to be advancing in with Noctilus. He's going to be blasting these guys just one at a time, but those shades really, really hurt, and the Harpies are going to be able to kind of pin me in place. He still does have his caster. Noctilus isn't the best at like killing hordes of like small stuff around him. I mean, he still can, especially if he has summons, and Abandoned Ship is going to proc right here, but nonetheless, with Loki or Felhard coming back and still having a bit of HP, probably enough to take 2 or 3 attacks from Noctilus, it's going to be very tough. So he jumps in, and now he's going to start healing from the Kraken's Helm. So I turn around right away, going to be trying to blast him in the face, but Noctilus is he's going to be getting that sweet peg leg himself, and that is going to be all she wrote. So super well played to Falcon. It was a beautiful game. I mean, just back and forth. I made a couple substantial mistakes in the beginning, but we both did. We both made mistakes. There was a couple of points where the dogs got into things, or maybe Loki maybe overextended a little bit and got shot. But yeah, certainly my mistakes cost me a lot. The deck gunners got no value. They should have just been a handgun unit, or like a mortar or something. They were just like, I always try and work them into builds, but against good players, they just kind of suck. There's certain things like that in Warhammer tabletop like that you use, and it's just like, oh man, this thing just like, it looks so cool on paper, but it just sucks. And I think deck gunners against good players just aren't the best. I mean, they're just too easy to kill. Aside from that, though, I did like the build. He had some really good burning heads. That was super clutch. He just melted my guns, like just super hardcore. So I almost think maybe cutting these two and just getting another Colossus could probably be better, just for kind of shooting the shades and things like that. I mean, there's so many different ways to play the matchup. This is my build pre-patch. I haven't had a new Dark Elf build put together since the patch. And again, Noctilus did get nerfed, so maybe there's some better choices, like maybe mixing in like... Nah, I think it was a decent build. I think it was a close game, and a couple of just micro decisions could have changed it. But yeah, it was really good. So super well played to Falcon. An absolute beast coming in with Loki or Felhard and just doing great work. Even though he's not the best Lord, Falcon is a really good player. So he was able to make that work, and his shade play was really good. So guys, please make sure to check him out over on his Twitch channel if you haven't. And thanks again for watching. So we'll see you guys next time, and take care.